The way I like to think about it is you have like Tagalog on one end and then Cebuano on the other, and then like Hiligaynon's in the middle between those two. It's not completely accurate, but that's how I like to view it, because it has a good mix of both, like Tagalog words, it has Cebuano words, but it's its own language, definitely. They speak it in Iloilo and Negros. They speak it in a few other places like Himaras, just a few other places, but it's mostly in that central region around Iloilo, around Negros. And the accent is different from the other accents in the Philippines. Tagalog accent is more flat. It's more just straight. They just talk longer words. Cebuano is also pretty flat. It's pretty direct. Tagalog is like direct, stop, and then like Hiligaynon is more fluid. Like it has an interesting tone. Like it's just like almost like they're singing. It's like always up and down. Ano gusto mo nga ihambal ko? Like it's kind of like it's got a rhythm to it. Hindi ko kabalo kung anong gusto mo nga ihambal ko sa imo. And then they do have accents too, depending on where you're at. The accents are different. Bacolod probably has the most distinguishable accent, just because they're very famous for that tone. It's really emphasized. Just like even if they're mad, like it sounds not like, it doesn't sound like they're angry, just because they emphasize that tone a lot. Bacolod, like sige na bala, like it's just like it's really emphasized. And then like maybe if you go up more north, like Sagay, there's some Cebuano influence, and so it's flatter. There's still some of that rhythm, some of that fluctuation in your tone, but it's a little bit flatter, more like hard, I guess. They use different words too, depending on where you're at. Like they'll change up the words slightly. I found tapi. That's probably where they use like the deepest language, like not the most common words. Bacolod, I heard more like English words that they'd throw in. They use a lot of English words that they just throw in and conjugate in Filipino. So that's pretty common. Learning the language, you just got to start out saying what you know. Like I remember my first transfer. I was with an American companion, which probably didn't help me learn the language, because we talked in English a lot, like, which obviously is not how you learn a language, by talking in your own language. So that was a problem, my first transfer, but it was just me repeating a lot of the same things I knew over and over again, and always trying to figure out new words, just asking people. Like you just walk down the street, say hi. Just like, if it's morning, say good morning, like mayong aga. If it's afternoon, mayong hapon. If it's nighttime, mayong gabi. And you just always got to be talking. After my first companion, which was one transfer, all of my companions are Filipino. I didn't have another American companion. And so that helped me a lot with the language. I never spoke English after my first transfer. Grammar, you can't think in direct translations. That's probably the best advice. Because it just won't work. You have to think like a Filipino thinks, and you have to think how they talk. Like it won't work translating it directly across. The common format for Hiligaynon is called VAOL, verb, actor, object, location. So you'll usually start with a verb, like let's say running. Magdalagan is the verb. Conjugate it however you want. And then the actor. So like if it's me, magdalagan ako. Ako is me. And then an object, well, there's not really an object in that sentence, but then like follow up with location, sa market or wherever. those are the three things that you have to learn as far as grammar is ang, sang, and sa. Because it's not the same in English where you have like articles and things like that. Ang, sang, and sa. So like the ang just marks like the emphasis, where the emphasis is at in the sentence. Sang is like the object or the non-emphasis, and then sa is location focus, just like it just shows where location is. It's very straightforward language. They have a word called bala, which is like a verbal question mark. So you know when you're asking a question, you can ask questions with the tone, but it's not the same as English. They actually have a word that says they're saying a question to distinguish between a question and like an actual like statement. One thing that helped me a lot partway through my mission, the biggest change I saw was when I recorded myself. Like I was having issues with my accent, some things like that. Recording myself and then listening to it over again was really big, because it sounds different. You can hear what you actually sound like when you speak that language. So I do recommend recording yourself, listening to it over again, and trying to make it sound as close to the way that people talk as you can. Language study. I didn't do a lot of memorization. Just talk to your companion in the language, reading scriptures in the language out loud. Always talk out loud.